all right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and whatever else might be out there lurking in the darkness. Welcome back to another episode of Pink Buzz. I'm Drew, and joining me this wonderful evening, we have PD Fulci, our digital comics expert, and we have Nuff Muncher. And yeah, he is really excited. Joey, tell us about the Bears, man. They're doing good tonight, right?
It's tied 1-1 right now, and the series is tied 1-1.
What's up, Chad? How you doing, brother?
What up, Chad?
In the house.
And Fulci, what you got going on, man? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Ready to talk these books, man. This is definitely, in my opinion, the best ones we've discussed.
All right, calm down, Sizzle Chest. We got to do our check-in first there. All right. All right, you go ahead and start us, Johnny, on the spot since you're ready. Go on.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Get on it, boy. Get her done.
I've got checked out Tinian's new book, Nice House on the Lake. Joe put it really well as like a fucked up episode of Big Brother. That's all I'll say about it for anybody that hasn't checked it out yet, but I recommend it. I checked out Basilisk from Cullen Bunn, and this one's got some promise to it, man. I definitely dig the characters, and I look forward to seeing what the next issue holds for that one. Got one of our boy Rob's books, and Mr. Alex Cormack as well, doing the fucking amazing art, which we'll touch on with Sync later on in the episode. I finally finished that, and if you haven't read CSRO's, get the fuck on it.
Yeah, Rich and Alex just rolled together, man.
Yeah, man. Fucking one of Johnny's favorite books, Alien.
That
I read issue 3.
I thought that was Scott Snyder's Witches, one of your favorite books.
No, fuck that book.
It's even worse. It's a Marvel Alien book. Like, you're gonna say fuck witches when you're gonna be, yeah.
Yeah, I sure the fuck am. And I finally wrapped up Maniac in New York, which is for sure one of the best books I'll read all year, easily. And there will be a volume 2, so very excited for that.
Okay, we covered this off air, but for fans that are keeping up with the show, was your prediction correct? Was he proven to be a cyborg?
He wasn't disproven to be a cyborg.
I'm not wrong yet. I love it. All right, Joey, what'd you get?
Didn't get much reading done this week, to be honest, because I had Homesick Pilots, had read the first issue, but I still hadn't read the rest, so I read that. I read Sync Volume 2 for the show. And what was the other one I hadn't read for the show? I think that's it. But then I knew Matt was coming on, so I read Maniac, final one, because I knew he was going to be reading that, so touch on that. And like he says, it's not a cyborg yet, which...
Okay, from reading this last issue, what do you think the chances of him being a cyborg are? Though.
What are the odds for the Powerball again? Probably about the same, you know? So, if he's a fucking cyborg, like I told Matt, you better go buy a fucking Powerball ticket, because, man, that's from way out there. And I had it. I was going to read it anyway, but we're going to talk about it on the show later, The Bunny Mask. And we started watching Sweet Tooth. We have the season finale left, and yeah.
How is it? Would you recommend it?
It's pretty good. They toned it down quite a bit to make it more family friendly. I feel like it isn't
fucking
as
weak.
It isn't as bleak and dark and like
tragic,
tragic and hopeless as like the original. But they did a good job. Like, I mean, it definitely has a lot of heart. You know.
It's what you'd expect a TV Sweet Tooth to be, then, basically. That's cool.
Yeah, like, they didn't go too soft, but, I mean, it's not going to be ripping your heart out like the book did. Like, and
That doesn't make me feel good about
it.
it.
and Jeopard, man. I was so the guy that they cast does a great job, but man, Michael Shannon, man. I wanted to see him as Shepherd. I thought he would be. He is that fucking character, right? And I just
I'd
love
like to
see
see
him.
it just to see when he has to find Gus again after what happens at the end of the first arc, so he could redo his best line from Man of Steel. I will find him. Like, yeah, like that would be why I would want Michael Shannon definitely to be up in there.
Yeah, but I think he would really be perfect for that role. But anyway, it's pretty good. They made it. I see a parallel between that and The Walking Dead, like how they made changes in it.
Okay, now I'm gonna not watch it at all if you're gonna compare it to that show.
No, not. Jesus Christ! I mean, in the way they made changes.
So like he doesn't shoot Shane in issue 6 like he's supposed to. I got you. I understand what you're saying, and I'll definitely watch it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been looking forward to it, and I didn't ever expect them to do it like how the comic book was. Like I understand why Matt would be upset, but at the same time, like it's just too sad sometime at some points.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's good though. I mean, they did a good job. I can't complain. I thought they did they kept true to the overall themes and feel of the book. You know, so hey, people are eating it up. People are loving it. People were talking about it. People at my wife's shop, like this woman who never read the book, she's watching it. She's like, I watched the whole thing in like 3 days. And so I mean, people are digging it.
The guys that did it, they're going to be doing God Country, right? Isn't that? Didn't they pick that up for adaptation?
The creator, showrunner, whatever for the show is slated to do an adaptation to God Country.
Yeah, I want to do a leap of Kate's best books, one that I can actually recommend to people. So that's going to be pretty cool to check out.
I've got some news.
Oh shit!
This came in today.
So you got it about a week later than I did. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's a good turnaround.
It's solid. That's pretty solid. Have to admit.
Nice.
Yeah. But I still won't back another Kickstarter of theirs. I could just order it from my comic shop and save big money. So, but this also came in at the comic shop today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the fucking Madman Omni. Nice.
Yes, that came in. So I can't wait to crack this motherfucker open. Anyway,
that's my fucking awesome.
That's my check-in.
Before I go, our buddy Chad checked in with us. He got books that came in this week. Kanto book 2, nice, dude. I love Kanto. It's I love the character design, man. I really want to get a tattoo of him. Okay, he got Twisted Dark, volumes 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not sure what that is, but I like the name, so I'll have to check it out. You got the Wrenchies, man. Farrell Dalrymple's one of my favorites. I love his work, and the Wrenchies verse is incredible. So, after that, you hopefully get to check out It Will All Hurt and Proxima Centauri. Really solid shit. You get reading some Hellsing, nice. One of my personal favorites. Let's see, Deceased, Hope at World's End. I guess that's I've only read the first one. Is that like a sequel to the first Deceased?
It's one of many.
It's one of them.
I think that was the digital first. It came out digitally, and now it just released in a hardcover edition.
Cool. Yeah. I liked the first Deceased, man. Tom the Tool Man Taylor did a pretty good job. That's a pretty fun little, horror book from a main two. For me, I got a couple Kickstarters. I got Slightly Exaggerated, which is just a really, really fun. I don't know why it's not an Image. It just really reminds me of an Image like fantasy book. I stack it up against stuff like Shudder and like Joe Keatage type stuff. Really kind of cool, really fun, emotional, esoteric, sci-fi, really fun stuff. I also got my hardcover for Crescent City Monsters. It's one of the Kickstarters I've been most hyped for. It's one of the reasons I kind of got into Kickstarters. My friend Jake West showed me just the beautiful work of Newton Lavos and Guillen Bernal, and man, like if you like comics about voodoo, witchcraft, and civil rights movement, like you do not get anything cooler than Crescent City Monsters. And Guillen Bernal's art is just phenomenal, man. Like it's black and white. I know you guys told me some kids won't read that shit, but if you skip out on this book because it's lack of color, you're an idiot, man. It is just one of the most gorgeous things to look at. And then the last I got is something I hope we get to cover really soon, and that was the first trade paperback of Rick Remender's Scumbag, and it's so good, dude. It's Death or Glory, but even better, even funnier, even grosser. Like you guys will love it. Very 2000 AD-esque, though. But before we get into our big books, we have a huge announcement for the show. It's something that we've been building towards. We've kind of actually been practicing and hoping that it would happen. And yeah, I don't know how else to say this, guys, but I'm buying a trampoline. I saw the one that Goose got for his kid, and it just looked so much fun. And yeah. But no, seriously, we're gonna have
Peter.
What's up, Pete's in the house.
But we are going to have our first creator guest on the show. We are going to have Mr. Steve Arena, the writer of Slowpoke, who also has a new Kickstarter up, Zombie Date Night. He's going to hop on. We're going to be on a little earlier next week. It's going to be around 7 o'clock Central Time. And yeah, we're going to cut it up because he's a funny guy who writes really funny books. And I think we're going to have a really good combo with the guy. And we're breaking into interview territory, guys. We're going to be all 60 minutes with this shit. So
we'll keep it completely unprofessional. I can guarantee you that.
Well, I'm pretty sure Steve will help 60 minutes. Man.
Let's get back to this trampoline news. This is intriguing to me. I mean,
let's not.
The only way adults should be allowed to jump on trampolines is if they're naked. That's my take.
Well,
on
why
that.
else would I get one? And you saw the Goose's birthday picture from like
you gotta have all those naked bits flopping and flapping around, man. Just like in The Big Lebowski, that scene where they're throwing the girl up in the air, you know, and dude's got to be if you do actually get one, you got to do a nude video of you jumping on it. And just get a slow-mo of the sloppy action that's going on there.
Yeah,
I want
that'll be my first Pornhub video. Like I'll be breaking in.
I want some helicopter dick action in my inbox immediately
on the trampoline. Now that's talent right there.
Yeah. I want some skills to be shown.
Windmill it like Pete Townsend, man. But about this week's wonderful lineup, Fulci, what do we got for the people tonight, man?
We're going to be talking about Osaka Mime from Boehemouth Comics. We've got Sync Volume 2 from Comixtribe. We're going to get some Homesick Pilots action coming out of Image. Of course, the masterpiece that was Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell's Hellblazer, and some Bunny Mask action coming out of some Aftershock.
Right. And jumping right on in, let's go ahead and cover Bunny Mask first. Matt, you want to lead us into this little psychotic masterpiece?
Sure, man. It's written by Paul Tobin, with art by Andrea Moody, who is fucking killing it right now with Maniac of New York and now with Bunny Mask. He's also got a book coming out soon called Cold Bodies with Magdalene Visaggio. I believe that's coming out of Dark Horse. I'm looking forward to that a whole lot. Also with letters by my man Taylor Esposito. But man, this book has the beginnings of a masterpiece, in my opinion. It's one of the more just out there disturbing books that I've read lately, hands down. I mean, it starts out with a father chipping away his own daughter's teeth with like
straight up putting a chisel up in there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, God damn.
Yeah,
Starts out with that old boy shit.
Yeah, and it just gets kind of more fucked up and out there from there, man. I don't want to talk about too many spoilers within the issue because going in cold to this one is, I think, better served. But there's not a book like that has one issue out right now that I could recommend higher.
I don't think that if we explain the entire book, we could spoil a thing, though. I mean, like, I love it because I don't know what the hell's going on in it at any point, and it's great. You got the whole thing with the Snitch Cave, then you got Bunny Mask herself, then you get the time jump, and then the artist girl who is the little, like, it's just so neat. It's such a setup. Yeah. Or at least that's how I took it. But like I told Joe, I mean, like, this first issue, it reminded me of like a great mix of Rachel Rising and Nailbiter, right? Do you get that feeling? But it's a little more David Lynchy than both of those put together. But Paul Tobin's like crazy though, man. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Comparison. Yeah, I could see the Nailbiter comparison. You know, like.
Well, the mouth caves at the end.
Down in the caves, the catacombs, or whatever you want to call it, and like the mystery surrounding everything right now. It's very bizarre. You don't know what the fuck's going on. Then the reveal at the end where you're like, oh, let's see where this goes. It's a bit of a twist, and you're like, you don't know. You just don't know. So you got to ask yourself a bunch of questions. It just leaves a lot of unanswered questions.
To be or not to be.
Well, that's why I love Paul Tobin. Like, in my opinion, he's kind of like an American Peter Milligan. He is just so underrated and unknown at his craft, and he's been doing it for so long. It's beyond me. I don't remember how young I was when I saw Fringe by him and Phil Hester from Caliber, which just, I didn't really read psychological thriller comics before that. I didn't know that they really existed, and like that one is just, it set a tone. It was a little more punk rock, a little more esoteric. But if you've like kept up with him and you've read stuff like Colder and some of his Dark Horse stuff, like he is really, really good at doing the mental illness stories and really psychological thrillers with really crazy mental aspects to it. So that's what I'm really excited that he set up with Bunny Mask, that the whole thing might just be a figment, you know what I mean? Some kind of sexy version of the Babadook or something. I don't know, but it sounds cool.
Oh yeah, I dug it. It can get a little wordy at times because they do explain a lot, but don't worry, get through it and you'll see it's worth it. Because there's some parts where, you know, the dialogue bubbles are quite full, and I know some people get like, oh, there's too much reading in this comic. Sometimes I laugh when I hear people say that, but you know, there's a reason for it, and it pays off in the end. So, you know, and I guarantee you, by the way this ended, the issues that are coming should have some pretty good action, scary, spooky, weird, offbeat kind of scenes based on just what this first issue had.
Did you like it, Chad? Did you like Colder? I'm asking the guy in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I going off of just a first issue, like I am so excited to see where this goes. Like,
same.
Yeah, like not since Lonely Receiver have I kind of like reacted to a book like this. And once again, it's another aftershock, man. They really seem to be catching fire with their horror. Well, they've always have, though. The first book of theirs I read was Second Sight, and like that was just the perfect start to loving a label, in my opinion.
We got to discuss that.
Oh yeah. Days. Oh, we got to get deep into some David Hine. You know, we got to talk about Strange Embrace too. Yes. Like I want to hear Joey. I want to hear Joey's reaction to that book. Is like that goes to some scary places, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Joey's already starting off talking shit about this one, so maybe I don't need his opinion.
Not talking shit. I wasn't talking shit. I know what some people. I know that some people are like, "Oh, there's too many words in my comic," and they like.
Well, then they must hate Christopher Sabella, right? Like, no, I'm not saying anything bad. One of my favorite things about him is like there is so much to read in his books. I do not ever feel like I'm ripped off because like I literally can read a Sabella issue in like 20 minutes because I'm dyslexic and I read slow. So yeah, I appreciate it that it's not like I do like really fast comics too. You know, like I can read It Eats What Feeds It like in like 3 seconds because it's very dialogue less.
Visual, yeah.
Yeah. But I would say it's just as good as one of his books. But like it's like people that don't like black and white comics, people that don't like words in their comics. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you, dudes? Like, do you not like story? Like some people have to tell with words because that's the way they write. Like,
but
it's beyond me.
But they do cover a lot of ground in this first book, I found.
Yeah.
Like from the time she's a girl, the flashback, like they cover a lot. How many pages is this? Is it bigger than a standard comic, or is it just your standard 22 pages?
I don't know. It seemed regular size to me.
Because if it's just a regular 22 pager, then they do cover a lot of ground for the story and set it up perfectly for the second issue.
Hell yeah. And I can't recommend it highly enough. Like if you haven't got it yet, go to your LCS, pick up Bunny Mask, ask him to get you issue 2. If you like really kind of cool esoteric horror, it's definitely top notch for shit that's out right now.
Hell yeah.
But I heard something
zipping
in the closet.
Uh-oh. You're going to get bit. The Bunny Mask's going to bite you, man. But yeah. Well, she bites the hell out of the one guy. So it might come after Joey. I don't know. But like moving right along, or it could be the monster that's in the book that Joey's about to talk about, and he's fucked if a mime gets him. Next up, we have Osaka Mime, which Joey's going to lead us into.
Yes, Osaka Mime. It's a Boehemouth book. It's a original graphic novel, so it's not single issue form. It's released in one volume, the whole story, which is awesome. The writer is Andy Levy, illustrated by Hugo Borojo, and lettered by Robin Jones. And this book is set in, I don't know if you just its own little world. There's no really set time or date, really, but it's in like this supernatural world where ghouls, vampires, all these creatures of the night exist. And it's kind of a detective story / horror monster thriller type. It's a mishmash of those kind of genres. And basically the story is this one cop who's part of a special unit that deals with these supernatural creatures who could break the rules or crimes or whatever. He's in charge of trying to solve these supernatural crimes. And this book centers around one creature that's called a mime, they can shapeshift, and basically they're carnivores and they love to eat people. So there's one that's on a rampage, mass murdering, eating people, and this cop detective has to go out and find this mime and bring it to justice. And that pretty much sums up the story.
Right.
A global sense, but there's so much more to it. Just the development of the main cop, like he's that flawed, run down, seen everything, kind of doesn't give a shit about much anymore, gone through the ringer type detective that, you know, just the detective that you love, right? That you see in most detective stories and stuff. You know, he just down on his luck, doesn't give a shit about anything, treats his body like shit. Just he has nothing left in life.
Every second day.
Yeah,
every 2 days.
The only thing
waffles.
Yeah, the only thing he has left in his life is his job, which he doesn't even really enjoy. So it leads for some pretty good banter with his new partner he gets teamed up with is a rookie, and it leads like bright-eyed, like ready to get the world and believes that there's hope, right? And then it's your typical cop, buddy cop, like the contrast of the two characters. Anyway, they go on this this case to try to find this mime, and it's the visuals are great. The artist does a great job. This book is in black and white, which we'll have to tell people it's in black and white because and it's got a lot of amazing scenes. The only had one small issue with the book is the first half. I don't know if it's something they realized after, but a lot of the dialogue falls in the gutter of the book, which made it a little hard to read at times. And I find later on they kind of resolved that issue where the dialogue bubbles are a little further from the gutter. Aside from that, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old, but I found the writing was a little small, and I struggled with that a little bit. I know we've talked about that, but I mean, aside from that, the book is excellent. And I mean, you got to love that cover. That's such a beautiful cover with the spot gloss on it. It's a beautiful cover. Boehemouth, the package of this book was excellent. It's a beautiful book from like cover to cover. I can't say enough good things about how this book looks. The illustration work, the story's a fun story. So if this is actually a good book for people that aren't completely into horror. Right, because it touches on
it's a noir book. I mean, like straight up through and through. Yeah. Closest thing I could relate it to like maybe a horror movie would be Seven, because it's mostly just about the cops walking around doing procedural stuff, which I thought was wonderful. I kind of actually expected this to be a little more like something like Tokyo Ghoul, where it was more inspired by like fantastical things, but this is straight up just a hard-boiled cop drama with orcs and mimes and all kinds of neat little creatures running around. They talk about like werewolves and vampires and how to fight them, and that's exactly right. It's perfect for somebody that's not quite into horror or gore.
It's supernatural. I'd say more supernatural than horror.
Right.
Like it leans more towards that than the actual horror, and like
But yeah, the only problem I have with this book, which I absolutely love, is to finally eventually read it, I had to just settle and read the PDF I have, because Boehemouth, in their need to try to keep up with the hipster movement, only printed 1,000 copies of this book, and I was sadly unable to buy a physical copy, which I love. And I really hope they remedy that soon. I really hope they do a second print, because I would love to own this book, but
I've heard they're supposed to be putting out another printing of it, so because the sales were pretty good for the first issues, so they're definitely putting out. I've read on Twitter somewhere a while back that they will be doing another print run.
It's a thing that I was excited for. You can even ask Matt, because I remember he first told me, like, dude, you got to check out Boehemouth. They fucking rock. Look at this. And I was on there, and I was going to get, I was getting Purple Oblivion. I was getting, like, the normal Boehemouth books everybody goes on and gets. And I saw that Osaka Mime was, like, up for pre-order, and it wasn't coming out till May. And I never pre-order shit because I never have a problem getting a hold of most books. And I feel like such an idiot now, because like I was so excited for it. You can ask Matt. I wouldn't shut up about it more than I was about the books I actually ordered. But like it is so good that like I can't even be mad that I don't own a copy yet, because it is just such a really rad. There's a writer that I really like that I can't say his name anymore because he got canceled, but he did this really great noir book called Scars, and this one is kind of like that but with monsters in it.
But with a cover like this, they should have known it was going to sell pretty good. I mean, just the cover alone grabs your attention. Like this is a perfect example of what a good cover can do for a book.
1,000 copies, Joe. In 1986, when Eastman and Laird printed the first issue of Ninja Turtles, they printed at least 2,000 copies, and that was in '86 before they knew that people were even going to buy their shit. Like Boehemouth knew that more than 1,000 people were going to want to buy that book. They did it so that they could get the flipper buzz and get all that eBay money and shit, or whatever the hell the kids are into these days.
They don't get that eBay money.
But they get the hype from it. They get the buzz from it. They get the second print selling out so they can try to flip those on eBay too.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Whatever, however they need to make money, but I still think it's messed up, because they could have printed at least more than 1,000 and still been able to get that eBay buzz, man. Like
See, this book, when I was going through the previews, like I saw that cover and I was like, whoa, I'm a sucker, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to read this now. Because I saw that cover and I was like, what the fuck is this? This looks awesome. So then I read the little synopsis on it and I was like, boop, check mark, pre-ordered. But that's because of that cover. If it wasn't for that cover, I might have just glazed over it. Osaka Mime, what's that? Sounds like, whatever. Probably would have glazed over and might not have pre-ordered it, but,
Oh, I don't know, man. Like the word Osaka gets my every time thanks to Takashi Miike. Because some of his movies are Osaka something, and that's where he's from. So, like, yeah, like Osaka tough guys, Shinjuku triads aside, like the words like Shinjuku and Osaka will always catch my eye, even more than like even having Tokyo in the title. So that got me. Then I saw the artwork, and then I read the preview pages on Boehemouth's site, and I was just like, yup. This looks so good. And I didn't even expect it to be as good as it was. I thought it was just going to be kind of like a cool, like somewhat Americanized version of Tokyo Ghoul, like I said. But it's on like that 7 level, man. It is a really, really good, well thought out crime drama with an actual bit of a mystery to it and everything, dude. It's solid if you're a fan of cop shit, you know what I mean? Like good detective stories.
Yeah, I got like if you were watching Lethal Weapon, but they threw in a little bit of Hellblazer in it. That was my take.
Yeah, I could see yeah.
I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
That's the vibe he gave off, though.
Yeah.
That one guy. Like, man.
Like that mixed with fucking John Constantine.
Hell yeah.
Which we'll be talking about a little later.
Yes.
A version of it, yeah, which I can't wait to talk about. If you guys thought I was mean to Boehemouth in a minute ago, just wait till we get to that. But yeah, next up we are going to be going into hallowed ground of mine. Anybody who's followed my channel or listened to any of my other shows know exactly how much I absolutely adore the comic book series Sync. Written by John Lee, is probably the only man I'd probably ever stalk, with art by Alex Cormack, probably like one of the greatest horror artists of our time, definitely of right now. We got colors by Alex and Ashley Cormack, and lettered by Sean Lee, logo by Tim Daniel, and oh, cool, that's it. Like, where's a designer? No designer. But this continues to tell you the creepy little mysteries and things that happen inside a little part of Glasgow, Scotland called Sink Hill. It's over on the east side, and it is where buses full of blood run after the sun goes down. There are apartment complexes that play out like The Running Man, where poor people have to fight to survive. We have the clowns in the blue van that cruise around doing God knows what and God knows why. And it's slowly getting explained to us in this weird world with great gangs like the Dickheads. And we're going to definitely be talking about issue 10 of this book because it's probably one of the greatest things that's ever been put in a comic book ever. But before we dig right into that, I want to get some really general impressions of your guys' take on Sync. I've covered this with Matt a few times. So Joey, let's talk about Sync a little bit and like how you kind of got into the book and how you think the second volume stacks up to the first one as a continuation.
Sync is awesome just to start off with. I really love the first volume, and this second volume just gets off to like just a great start with that first what would be issue 6 is a great intro into the second volume. I mean, it's amazing. Just the art. I remember Matt and you were talking about it, how it's mostly silent, that issue. There's not very much dialogue, and it's set in like a stormy, rainy night in the mood. Just it's paneled like the sequences. It's perfect. Like it's storyboarded perfect. It's great. And then I find you get a lot more variety in this second volume of the style of stories than you did from the first. Like the first one is like that silent, dreary, rainy night with the clowns. That's one of the clown stories. What was the second one?
And volume 1?
Yeah,
No,
volume 2.
2.
Oh, it was about Jordan and where
Yeah.
he's trying to
to become a member.
qualify for the dickheads.
Yeah, to get that one.
Lead balloon.
At the end, you get the reveal of where the bus comes from, kind of a little bit at the end, which is cool. You know, he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's the bus from the first issue.
From the first issue, yeah. So that's cool. They go back, you know. Then you have the 2-parter, which it's a 2-issue arc with the hotel, which was pretty cool.
Mr. Dig, man, you get lots of Mr. Dig. Man.
You get more story about Mr. Dig, kind of a reveal of who he is, where he comes from, and everything. So that was pretty cool, and it was pretty brutal. Like once it goes into lockdown, man, woo, that's some good stuff. And then you finish it off. Was that the last one with the couple going out on their first date? That was that's I think my favorite issue. That's my favorite.
It should be everybody's. It's one of the greatest comics ever written, man.
Agreed.
And they're such a great couple. Like, you know, if you're gonna talk about great couples in comics, I nominate this couple as one of the great couples in comics. Like, they're adorable in how they're odd and weird. They're just perfect for each other. Like, I just love it. It was great. That one was awesome. And then you had a bunch of little mini stories written by other creators and stuff. Some were by John Lees himself, and there's some interesting little stories that give you a little bit of background on a lot of other things that you've seen throughout the 2 first volumes. And it was great. They gave you a little bit of everything, some comedy, some like straight up horror thriller stuff, some more action horror. It was definitely a very solid second volume. Like, I'd almost say it's better than the first.
I gotta agree with that.
How would you say that if issue 10, because definitely in the first volume, the best issue was issue 4 about the kids. How would you say issue 10 stacks up against that, and how does it outdo it? Because I would like to hear your take on that, Joey.
Issue 10 was with the couple, the kink couple.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so visceral. Like, when the dickheads get there, the scenes, like the expressions in their face, they just nail it. Like, you could feel it. Like, they just nail it. And that scene where they get there and open the door.
The Tories
like,
one?
The fuck? Yeah, what the fuck is this? And they got the dickheads tied up. Oh man, with the bee, the buzzing bee. Then they just come out of swinging, right? They're like, then all mayhem breaks loose, and
yeah, the way that one witness dies, man, with the purple pleasure seeker going right down his whoop. Like, what a way to suffocate.
Yeah.
Setting the scene for this wonderful issue, it's about this couple. I think one of them's a teacher, and like the other one is well, the thing is they're kind of well-to-do, and they're awkward. They're older, and they go back to the girl's place. She doesn't quite tell them how bad her neighborhood is, though. She lives in Sink Hill. He's kind of, I guess, from a more posh type place. But they both pretend that they're into BDSM. But when they get back to her place, neither of them know what they're doing. And then tragically, you think it's just going to get really sad because of the dickheads break in, but it doesn't go anywhere where you think it would. Like, you do not mess, even with BDSM people that don't know what they're doing. Like, oh my God, the shit that they have at their disposal, you don't want to go up against. And you learn that hardcore in this book, dude. You do not go after kinky people without at least a machine gun or something.
That haven't gotten off yet, right? Don't fuck with people that didn't get off yet, because they have a lot of pent up energy, man. And they unleash that fucking sexual tension on those poor dickheads.
Yeah.
Maddie,
it was awesome. It was great.
You want to dive in on your love for this issue and like your particular favorite issues in this volume?
I'd say issue 6, and you already know my affinity for issue 10. I've been pretty outspoken about that issue with you. But issue 6 is the silent issue that is about the clowns and the woman that they're trying to convert into a member of their clown gang, and just that whole storm that it takes place in really reminds me of Uncanny X-Men 205 by Barry Windsor Smith. The art in that just it's a snowstorm in that one, but just with the rain and man, whoever had to color that was probably a fucking nightmare.
Alex and his wife colored it,
he knew what he was doing to himself, so I guess that's better than having someone else fucking color it for sure, because I can't imagine that being an easy process whatsoever, so I have to respect him so much for that. But yeah, I really like every issue, but I mean, issue 10 is just where it's fucking at, man. It's my favorite single issue of any comic I've read in the past 10 years easily. Just that whole scene, like Joe was mentioning, where they first open the door and they're like, she's got the fucking dildo and he's got like the fucking spanking paddle just ready to go. And they're like, you fucking Tories. And like they're in like the fucking superhero poses with that shit. Man, I fucking crack the fuck up every time I see that panel, dude. It is fucking hilarious. I don't know. I think like everyone should read that issue. Just if you're not even into horror or anything like that, you should still read this issue. It's fucking hilarious. It's got some romance going on. It's just the best issue ever, period. Like, go fuck
because they're
yourself
such
if you
a
don't
cute
like it.
couple, even after what they went through, like the way it ends with the two of them, like, okay, like that.
They're
gonna
have
crazy.
A second date.
Yeah, dude, it was wonderful. It was just like with the kids murdering the slumlord in issue 4. You're like, your heart was still warmed after the gore and the absurdity of it all. Like that is the power of John Lee's and Cormac's team up. Like that is why they are superior to all other horror teams working right now, in my opinion.
Yep. Kieran and Louise forever, man.
That's what Matt calls love, girl.
That's right, girl. Oh, I need to get a spanking paddle and a purple dildo so I can make another video.
One of the things I was
leftover stock from your old job.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, though, is like where they decided to take the character Mr. Dig and his background. I didn't see that coming. I thought that was a really audacious and brave way to make the character. I thought it was wonderful. I thought that was a really cool way to make him even make a little more sense in the crazy part of town that he lives in. And then the whole thing where he's kind of got a sidekick now after Clown Lady shows up after issue 6. I'm just like, oh yeah, dude, more vigilantes running around seeing kill. Get her a shovel, get her a sledgehammer. I don't care, man. Let's see this happen.
Yeah, like, man. I can't wait to see what volume 3 brings, because like it just, this was like John Lee's stepping it up so high from volume 1. I can't even imagine the shit that he's gonna pop off with in volume 3. Like it's my most anticipated thing to come out this year for sure.
Even the other slashers in the 2-shot with Mr. Dig, you had the Crybaby and like I forget what the girl's name was, but like they were cool too. I love that whole 2-parter. I never hear it get mentioned. I guess because like it just doesn't stack up against the bread of this book. Like issue 6 and issue 10 obviously steal the show. It's like how issue 2 and 4 were in the first volume. But like I'd have to say the two-parter with Mr. Dig is a bit underrated because I think it's a really solid part of the book and part of the lore. I love that character. He's probably what got me into Sync the most when I first picked it up was his character.
Well, he's definitely the character that stood out in volume 1. Right? Like that character, you're like, oh, who the fuck is this? He's like just as freaky and fucked up as the rest, but he's on the good side, right?
But you're rooting for him. I wouldn't necessarily say he's on the good side.
Yeah, because he really didn't help that rich kid that got stuck in town in issue 1. He saved him, but he wasn't like, dude, I'm not going to walk you where you need to go. Welcome to Sink Hill. The bus is that way. You better hope you fucking make it. And that guy didn't make his bus, and Mr. Dig didn't save him. So,
Is there any relation with the mask to like Muslim culture or anything like that? Like the fox? Is there any kind of tie between, like, is there any, like, why the fox mask?
John Lee seems to have an affinity to it because there's a fox in, and then Emily was gone too. So I think that the fox as a motif is a thing that he likes. And I don't know if it has
personal preference. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual character's background or anything like that.
I wouldn't know because like they barely scraped the surface. I bet you they'll get into something about Mr. Dig's particular background and what he had to do as part of the military, the unit that he was in, that the fox is a representative of something to him. But as far as Muslim culture in general, not that I know of, I don't think that they have foxes in the desert. I'm not sure. Don't want to sound racist, but I don't think so.
No, but like you said, it could be maybe related to his military background. Maybe he was part of an elite team called the Fox something, or I don't know.
Yeah, because they definitely hint at that in this one, that he has a strong military background.
Yeah, which explains his hard ass, why he's such a hard ass, you know?
Right.
It was cool. Then you get the scene where you see all his scars. Then, like, that was the first hint where you're like, oh, dude's got tons of fucking scars on him everywhere. Then you're like, what the fuck's that about? And then it kind of slowly starts to reveal itself. And then you're like, and the way he's dressed, though, like, if you think about it, you'd be like, oh, yeah, it makes fucking sense. He's always dressed in fucking tight black fucking shirts and.
Well, also his job, it makes sense how he knows what he knows. They kind of took that from old school Moon Knight with the Jake Lockley character, the cab driver, but that's still always a good ploy for having a vigilante. That's how they know what's going on, man, is driving that cab during the day. So yeah, I think that John Lee's is incredible, man. Like, he really needs to be working more. That guy has way too much time to tweet and watch wrestling stuff. So like if he's got time to watch wrestling, man, he should be working on more books. Like why isn't he have like, if he should be like Colin Bunn, man. He should have like 80 books out like right now with his name on it. Brand new ones that are in the store. Colin Bunn can do it. Smoking John Lee's.
Is there a release date for the next arc of Sync?
They just keep telling me this year.
Yeah.
Okay, no specific date yet.
But they did send out with Wailing Blade. I got a ash can for it, which is black and white, and it's Mr. Dig. It's basically like a plot layout of the issue 11, and it's just going to be him walking around smashing fools with the shovel again. It's going to be an incredible issue, but yeah, no, they haven't really said when it's coming out. But they should do Kickstarters for it again. That's what they did for the second arc, so we'll start seeing those pop up, and you'll see me backing them and being an idiot and spamming the hell out of you guys to support them, because like, yeah, I want this book every month. Like, I hate having to wait this long between arcs, man. Some Rick Remender shit with this, man, making me wait. Who do you think you are, Rick Remender? God damn it! Like, come on, everybody wants to make me wait all the time. But zipping right along, this is me and Matt have a huge affinity for this series. We've read it pretty much as long as we've read comics, and this is the newest version. And Matt, dig right into this bad boy because there's a lot to unpack with this.
All right. Well, first off, fuck you, DC, for canceling fucking Hellblazer. I'm still so fucking pissed about it. I probably will be forever because you could clearly tell that Spurrier and Aaron Campbell were doing this out of love, man. There's so much care taken with the character and his very long history. There's nods to a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of people miss that aren't familiar with the original 300 issue run. But this is like the closest you'll get for John Constantine, a version of him that's like he was in the original Vertigo run. It felt, the art, the story, everything about it made me feel like it was 1997 again, and I was reading Vertigo books. It's probably one of the best mixes of horror, humor, history, politics, and social commentary that I've read in a long time. Like, it mixes all of those things so well. There's just some off the wall shit in this story. It was my favorite book of the year, and I still want a real reason why DC was fucking stupid and canceled it, but I'll never get it, and I'm sure they'll fucking hand it over to some fucking writer. I probably won't be able to touch this run.
Donny Cates.
Oh, I hope not. But yeah, man, I don't know. I get bitter every time I talk about this book.
Like I said, man, when it comes to this book, I am Utah. I got the Great Salt Lake. I got the Salt Flats, man. I got all the salt for DC like Utah when it comes to this book. And yeah, like I just got the second trade for it this week, and like every little blurb, everything on it that promotes the book talks about how it is the top fan rated what's it called? A critically acclaimed and top selling book of its time. When they somehow just decided to cancel it at issue 12 because obviously Batman needed to fight the Joker again in some Jeff Johns piece of fucking fluff. This is why I am not sad Dan Didio got fired, but I wish shit like this got fixed after he got the boot. And Jim Lee needs to go too. Like, honestly, like the death of Vertigo lays definitely on both those guys' necks. But the thing about this book is it really was special. They've done runs of Hellblazer since the 300 issue original Vertigo run ended that have not been particularly wonderful. Some of them have been pretty fun, like the Hogue Nguyen one with Tinian co-writing. That was fine, but they never really took off with that one either. I think that only made like 8 issues. So but this was on fire. This was so good. And like you, I am a classic old school Hellblazer fan. So the idea of replacing Chaz is not something that really, really like strikes a chord with me, that I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. But I didn't know that was what they were doing when I got introduced to the character of Noah, who, by the way, completely fucking blows Chaz out of the water. I don't care if Chaz ever comes back. I want Noah hanging out with John from now on, because their friendship was just so neat, and the way they learned to talk with each other, because Noah's a mute, was phenomenal. I thought that was such good writing. And then the whole thing with the Chavs and the crazy old dude with the angels in the park, like that was such a Vertigo way to start the book, with Aaron Campbell's art looking like some John J. Muth shit. Like, it was just, oh my God, it was perfect. It was what I wanted from a Hellblazer book. And then even when they brought in Mateus Baraga, who has this really kind of clean, streamlined art, that arc was just so phenomenal, because John Constantine meets Goose as a magician. And it was wonderful because like he basically had to like deal with this guy that was just so utterly just adorable in every way possible, but like he wasn't threatening and he wasn't actually magical. And like John couldn't even find it in himself to tear this guy's world down, and actually defends him and like leaves him as like the champion of magic for this realm. And it was just such a good Hellblazer story and a good way to kind of in that first trade. And oh man, and the fact that it was finished so fast, because the second arc was really, really good too. You really get into the old John, the evil John, and I loved the Mariner's Tale at the beginning of the arc and the first story and and then Aaron Campbell's art just fucking shines, dude. It looks like I am like legitimately reading a book from 1998. You know what I mean? Like it's Hellblazer perfection. And yeah, dude, DC, you suck. I mean, I like a lot of what you put out still, but oh my god, how I just want a reason. Like, did Cy Spurrier tell you guys to pack sand in your ass, and did he leave? Because I would accept that. That would be fine. And then like, yeah, go ahead. Because like I'm really interested in seeing what Ram V does with John and Swamp Thing. Because from what I understand, like John's basically going to be a big part of the Swamp Thing from now on, which I don't understand why they couldn't keep Hellblazer going too. But
exactly,
DC doesn't seem to understand that like Batman can have 5 books, but John Constantine, he can only be in one at a time. Like, what the seriously? Like, how many Green Lanterns do we? Getting off base, but Joey, man, you want to talk about the good things about this book? Kind of get us off the hate train for a minute.
This book was wonderful. Right from the first issue when I read it, I was like, oh man, it just, the story, the plot, the art, they match up so well. Such a well crafted. It was almost a perfect comic the way it was crafted, from story, the tone, the aesthetic, like the art of it is. And I love the way Spurrier just gives you that slow burn with that big payoff at the end. It's masterful. It's so great. You're reading it and you're like, oh, what's this? Then at the end it's like, so twisted. You know, you're like, you motherfucker. You know, it's so good. It's so fucking good. And like, well, when did it get announced it got canceled? Around issue 7-ish, 7 or 8?
Yeah.
That it wasn't coming back, so there was only like 2 or 3 more issues. When I heard that, I was like, oh man, that was like my favorite book that I was reading at the time that was coming out as single issues. Like, I couldn't wait to get the next one. And even then, I'd like put, I gotta wait, I'll get 2, and I'll just like mini binge 2 at a time, you know? And it was great. Like, and like you said, when they brought in Mateus for his books, because they each had like, I think Campbell had the bigger arc. Like his arcs would normally be like 3 or 4 issues. Then Mateus would come in for like a 2-issue arc, and it was great because it was almost like a palate cleanser. Because
there's like definitely different tones to the stories that each of them do.
Because it was a much more heavy, dark, somber tone, like in the Spurrier with Campbell. Then you come in with Mateus, where it's a more lighthearted, where John's, you know, like he meets the other guy, I can't remember his name, the other magician, and it's more funny, lighthearted.
Tommy.
And it definitely, Tommy, yeah, and it definitely gives you like that kind of, okay, and, you know, it makes you laugh a little bit, then they come back with the serious, hard-hitting, you know, like bleak, like you don't know.
Noah in the hospital. I forgot about that. It was the arc after the issue right after the Goose
deep,
magician.
Man.
Yeah, with the spirit that takes the old people at the hospital. That one was fucked up. It was good though.
And I think it was genius to bring in Mateus to give you those 2 issues that just, you know, cleanses the palate. So because you know, it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched the series Hannibal. But man, that show gets dark, where you're like, whoa, I'm gonna take a break because it just gets too much, right? You're like, it's just too much dark, bleak, like it stains your soul, you know, like you got to step away from it a bit, and that's what these 2-issue arcs did. It was the perfect palate cleanser to get you right back in, and you're like, oh yeah, that's true. This is what this book is about, and. Yeah, it's such a shame it only lasted, what was it, 12 issues?
Yep.
Total? Yeah, it's such a shame. Real shame. And I love the cell phone demon, where he traps the demon in the cell phone.
Yeah.
And he rewards him by
Vestibulon, or is that his name?
yeah,
Vestibulon?
I can't. Yeah, I love that. I like that was they touched on that a lot in the first arc, and then they barely touched on it later on. I was so disappointed. I was like, fuck, I love that because that was
so they could bring him out in the end.
Yeah, but it was the part in the more serious ones where you had that little bit of comic relief, right? Like he's like, because doesn't he feed him like viral videos to satisfy him? Yeah. I was like,
he like bothers him, and he's like watching fucked up porn and stuff.
Yeah. So I thought that was really funny. It was great.
Yeah. I really liked when you first meet Tommy and stuff, and John's trying to get away from him, so he hops in the car really fast, and he ends up following him into the car and like starts talking all that hipster magic bullshit. And him and Noah just look at each other and start cracking the fuck up because they know this dude's full of shit. I loved the rapport between him and Noah, man. It was definitely one of the favorite things of this book.
And that reveal too. Oh
yeah, I
so
know,
fucking
man.
Good. So
right,
I like that's like so good. It was so good. And when you think back of it, there's little clues, right? They leave you little breadcrumbs here and there. Like when you think back, you like when the reveal's there, it's like you get that flashback of going backwards of all the different little things. Like you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It was such.
I really liked the Nat character too.
Yeah, I was gonna bring her up. Yeah,
she was my favorite. I liked her even more than Noah, just because she would be able to dish out.
You need someone that can kick ass too. None of these guys know how to fight. John's not a fighter.
No.
Noah's not really a fighter. Fucking hippie magician boy isn't a fighter. You need someone that knows how to kick some ass and crack some skulls, and she definitely fits the bill.
She does.
Her jokes at John were great too. I mean, she was a really funny character as well. She was always able to cut him down pretty good when he tried to be cool and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she called him on his shit every time, and I've loved it, man.
Like I can't say there's a single character in this book that I didn't like. Like I loved them all.
Yeah,
they were.
The
all
supporting
great.
cast was
amazing.
One of the strongest ones of any book. Period.
Which is always a hallmark of Hellblazer is like really good side characters. But the fact that Cy didn't even rely on any of the classics, he created all his own. Like he even got rid of Jazz and invented Noah. Like that's what's incredible about this series. And that's what makes it so damn tragic is because if they would have allowed him, if it could have happened, this could have ran another 300 issues and we could have had another really good run of John. Because I like this version of him. I like that he's like more sexually ambiguous, that he's not just a skirt chaser like classic John. I like a lot of the things that they worked into it because, you know, he's not a prudish Christian. So why would he have like those kind of fundamental values? You know what I mean? He would be like a regular kind of, you know, modern horn dog, which I thought was a neat way to take the character finally, or a character finally.
Right. And I liked that they stuck with him being older, you know, like he and him dealing with that, like how he's not quite the young magician that he still pictures himself to be. And I loved the little hints at that and how he would deal with it in his own head and shit.
Like where he's drinking, where he thinks he can still drink people under the table, and they just fucking just out. He just, no, he's like, I'm old. And I love the tone. Like they nail the tone of this book. It brings you back to the old days of like just that grittiness, and they're not trying to fluff it up to try to cater to make him more mainstream or. They're telling a very, very almost a personal like struggle.
Yeah.
Right. And not fluff it up to make it like this cool, trendy thing or make him style him up to make him seem more palatable to the mainstream. Like they really went with that gritty, dark, flawed character that he originated as. Like they went back to the roots
that he's always been.
Yeah.
Well, that, and like I like that it's not the DC Comics version where all he needs is a color crown and a bloody nose, and all of a sudden he can stop Apocalypse. It's like, no, dude, John's magic sucks, and like if he ever gets the spell to actually work, that means something incredibly horrible is going to either happen to him or somebody he knows.
Definitely somebody he knows.
They never play on when they had him in the DC universe or in the animated films where, dude, like, and this book really, really lays it on heavy that his magic has a cost, and it doesn't usually cost him, but people he knows dearly. And I love that they returned the army of ghosts that follow him around. You don't see him as much as, like, say, the Mike Carey run or something, but they do show flashes of him. And that's always been one of my favorite things about him is, like, that's why he is such a sad, tragic, broken person, because even when he does the good thing, when he is the hero, he stops the bad thing, his magic hurts somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
It kills somebody. Like,
and they touch on that so well when they talk about the other magician. Like, he wants to shelter him from learning real magic because he knows the cost, right? He doesn't want him to learn real magic because he knows what it cost him. Like, let him believe he's actually helping and humor him. Don't actually teach him anything because, he's a pure soul, right? He's good he's got a good heart. He hasn't been tainted, and John doesn't want to ruin that. Like, because deep down, he just wishes, as pompous as he thinks that guy is, he just wishes he could be that naive and innocent and just happy, positive. You see it. Like, even though he despises it, but I think it's more jealousy. Like, like he would love to have that, but he knows he can't because he's so far gone and he's made so many mistakes that, and like the reveal at the end, like he doesn't think this is my chance at redemption, right? Like when he finds out that's his son, it's not happy roses. It's like, oh fuck,
Yeah, he knows
how am I gonna fuck this up? Yeah,
and
how am I gonna fuck this up? Right? Like it becomes a burden more than anything.
Right.
Like he's kind of happy, like, oh shit, I have a son. It's kind of, but then he's like, how am I gonna fuck this up? Because I fuck everything up, and it becomes a burden on him. And it's so great how they go about it and really emphasize the weight of that, of someone who fucks up all the time, and they know it, and the burden of that.
Yeah. I really liked in the one shot that they did before issue 1 of the series, when it shows the last battle or whatever with Tim Hunter, and Chaz is still alive, and Chaz walks up to him and brings him that pig head, thinking that it's gonna save the world and shit, and John's just writing fuck all over it and sends him on his way with it. But Chaz thinks he's gonna save the fucking planet and shit, and just doesn't do anything. That was Constantine to a fucking T, man. Fuck you, DC. That's all I got, man. Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why. Even if they needed to replace Spurrier already, that would be whatever, dude. Delano only wrote 20 something issues of the original Hellblazer before they brought in they brought in a bunch of guests before Garth took over, right, Matt? When Grant Morrison and all them kind of wrote,
Morrison wrote, I think, 2 issues. Neil Gaiman wrote an issue, but it was all in between Delano's run. I think he did closer to 30 or 40 issues.
Yeah, 34 issues, I think it was.
Yeah, and then Ennis took over, and everybody knows Ennis's run. It's the classic Hellblazer run.
I've read most of Delano's run, and or maybe half, maybe not most, but half, and I've read all of Ennis's run.
Yeah.
So
You
And
can
I think
skip Fear Machine. It's really long and doesn't really go anywhere. But Family Man and the couple of his ones are really good. The original Sins is definitely must-read stuff, though. I just love the way the original Hellblazer issue entered with the two-shot with the friend who gets the demon put in him and his mouth sewn shut. That's just such a neat way to introduce the character in a main way and just show you what he's all about and what he will do. You know what I mean? To stop these things. It's just like, wow. And like that's when I fell in love with it as well. You know what I mean? And I think Spurrier captured that again with this character. And I think that if they would have brought on, say Dan Waters to do 4 issues and they kind of just bounced it around for a little while and just did Hellblazer like Hellblazer used to be done. They could have just kept it going even if Cy wanted to bounce, because as good as he was, like, he set it up perfectly for anybody else that wanted to step in and play ball.
Well, this is the book that made me a Spurrier fan.
Wow.
Like, I've heard of him and and then I read this and I was like, wow, this is fucking awesome. Then I went and picked up Alienated and I read that and I was like, holy fuck, this is good too. And I'm like, all right, I got to start picking up all his books. So I have the 2 volumes that he did of The Dreaming. So I haven't read those yet, but I bought those right away, the 2 trades for that. And now
you never read X-Men Legacy?
I've read, I'm up to issue 20. I'm a little more than halfway through that. That's the one with Legion, right?
That's his great unveiling. I'd been reading him since Crossed Wish You Were Here, his free Crossed web comic, which was really good, which kind of got me into him, because before that he did a bunch of Boom stuff like Deathmatch that wasn't super good, but man, he is definitely one to keep around.
With our boy Casper.
Yeah, Angelic, that's later on though. Yeah, dude, like Angelic is, if you ever wanted to know what like Garth Ennis's religious views would look like in a Pixar movie, like Angelic is perfect for that, because it's just such just cute, wonderful all-age book that's just about the truth of fundamentalism and belief systems, and it's just great. I enjoy it.
Yep.
But yeah, man, Spurrier's definitely one to check out. I would definitely recommend like getting Weaver's The Spire. He's written so many really good books.
Godshaper,
yeah. Even though the artist of that book hates that book, it's so funny to hear him trash it. But I don't see what his problem is, man. But whatever, he's weird. I'm sorry it took me so long to do this, Chad. I wanted to wait till Joey and everybody got done talking. But yes, I have read Survivor's Club, and I absolutely love it. It's probably one of my favorite books of that launch of Vertigo. I really love how it tackled so many of my favorite urban legends. Anything that kind of digs into Polybius and like the killer imaginary friend at the same time, win-win for me. Plus Ryan Kelly's art is always phenomenal. So yeah, dude, Survivor's Club is excellent. And yeah, if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. And if you have read it, good on you, man, because that's a kind of an unknown one.
Agreed.
Another one would be Coffin Hill, which ended slightly before that one ran. That was like one of the last like really solid, really real Vertigo books before they kind of started doing those little half-ass launches. But yeah, me and Joe talked about it a little bit with Anaki Miranda's doing the art for it. And if you like Hellblazer, if you like really kind of cool magic, a little mixed with how we talked about Osaka Mime, because it's got a really good cop drama to it. Just solid ass, just really good horror book, man. Yeah, can't recommend it highly enough.
It was solid, yeah.
Oh, you read it? I thought you did know of it.
No, I read it. Yeah, that's the one with the girl who's a witch with the one eye that's a different color. She comes back to town. She comes from a rich family. Yeah, they did a ritual in the woods and it went wrong. Yeah, I've read that one. Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that one, and then if you want another really good modern Vertigo horror that's pretty good, Clean Room by Gail Simone and John. Yeah, John Davis Hunt. Great art, just really good. If you like Clive Barker and you like making fun of Scientology, like, you can't get better than Clean Room.
That is fucking perfect.
But moving into our last book, of course, this is one, Homesick Pilots, written by White Noise King himself, Mr. Dan P.G. Waters. He is so groovy. And this is right next to Alex Cormack and John Lees. This is probably one of my favorite team ups in horror. We have Dan Waters and Casper Wingard working together as the artist and writer team. And if you never read Limbo alongside this, you need to check that out because they are just such a wonderful team together. They got Adita Bidakar doing the lettering. Tom Mueller is the designer, and Erica Schnatz is the production artist. And this book is wonderful. It is so good. There is only one thing I dislike about this book, and it isn't actually anything that has to do with the book itself. It's on the blurb in the back, and it says, "Expect 3-chord songs and big bloody action as Power Rangers meets The Shining." Yes, really. Like, that is such a bullshit claim for this book. If anything, it's 13 Ghosts meets Evangelion with a little bit of Dead End Kids mixed in, because Dan goes a little Frank Gogol with this, because it's about 3 orphans that are in a punk band in '94, and they are kind of in a rivalry with this other band called the Nuclear Bastards. Our protagonist band's called the Homesick Pilots. It is Ami, Buzz, and what's the third guy's name? Rip. And yeah, Rip. And basically, like, these guys, the Nuclear Bastards, play at this really cool closed bowling alley. They do a squat show, basically. So to outdo them, the Homesick Pilots want to play in this old haunted house that lives up. It's up at the top of the hill. And to kind of check it out, Ami goes up there after, a bad night, after some shit happens, and she ends up finding out that the stories about the house are really true, and that it is a sad, weird, angry, confused place just like her, and it likes her, so it decides to kind of keep her, and it wants her to help it find its ghosts and bring it back. And she thinks that she's actually kind of, doing therapy with the house. But the thing is it wants to trap her. And her friends are trying to get into the house and save her. Meanwhile, you meet these really cool ghost hunting characters who have this sentient VHS tape that becomes like this psychotic killer. Like, it unspools, and like the tape just comes out of it, and it's got knives. It is like one of the greatest things ever. I love Tift. It's probably one of my favorite things. Casper Wingard and his crazy VHS magical objects that he's done in this and Limbo are both just so glorious. But Tift, as soon as I saw that, I was in love. And then basically Ami, to try to save the house because she doesn't understand that it's evil too, she turns the house basically into a ghost mech. And she fights this sentient VHS tape that just becomes this huge monster too, which kind of forms the Evangelion thing. And Matt, why don't you take over for me and kind of explain a little bit about like what's so special about this book for you and where it goes from where I left off.
Well, first off, like, my next tattoo is definitely gonna be of Tift, because that's like the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, man, I mean, this is like, it brings it back to the days, that are similar to my past, going to shows and dealing with fucking street punks that think they're fucking above everyone else and all that kind of like political shit within the scene. I thought was placed really well in the book. But yeah, man, like, there's still so much that can be done, that there's still so many questions that I have. And I really liked that you think the book is going to be completely about a certain character, and it flips that right on its ass.
Right.
And
Yeah. Dan basically does to us here the same thing he did with Coffin Bound. Like, he flipped the script on like where we thought the book was going and who we thought the book would be about. And I love that he keeps doing that to me, because I didn't expect it with this one.
Yeah, I did not see that coming whatsoever. And I kind of like that you don't really know if the people you're rooting for are on the right side. So I'm so stoked for this book to come back. I think it starts up again really soon, actually, like within a couple weeks or something like that. But man, I this is my favorite book coming out right now. It checks every box that I'm looking for with any comic. It's super heartfelt. It's got punk chicks and just fucking crazy action, like almost kaiju in a way, but just I don't know, man.
Right.
I can take this book on anytime. I can't wait for more.
Like when Buzz gets the horseshoe magic and he lands on that cop car and he goes, "Just ACAB, okay?" or whatever he says to that cop. I thought that was just so hilarious, man. I love that they threw in that ACAB joke, dude. I was just like, hell yeah. Some punk rock shit right there.
Man. Right? Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this book. It's my favorite thing out right now, and I like the to see something a little different from Dan after Coffin Bound, because that book was fucking heavy. So yeah, I will continue to be on Dan Waters' nuts until he writes something I don't care about, but he hasn't yet. So, and I love Casper too. I think it's a tight race between whether I like Dan and Casper or Dan and Danny better, but man, that's just those two fit him so well. So I love his artistic choices as well.
Right.
Go for it, Joey. All right. Well, this book threw me for a loop because I was it didn't give me well. I thought it was going to be much more horror oriented, but it's got a lot of action, like you guys said. It's kind of got almost like a kaiju. You know, it doesn't have as much horror as I thought it was going to have, especially after because I had only read that first issue, and
where
I only
most
just
of the horror happens.
Oh yeah, so I read that first issue, and I waited till I got all the rest before I read the rest, right? So I had that one issue, and I was like, "Holy fuck, this is like." I thought it was gonna go like heavy into the horror, and then, boom! It's like the house becomes like I saw a preview, so I knew the house kind of came to light. Like like I saw all that coming, but man, they really lean heavy into the like the action, supernatural side of it. Which another book it made me think of Ultra Mega, but in the opposite. Whereas I thought Ultra Mega was going to be like this action-packed thing, and then it has this really heavy horror element to it. Right. So it fooled me in the opposite way Ultra Mega did, where I thought I was going to get all this horror, and I was like ready for it, but you get a lot of action, whereas Ultra Mega did the opposite. Well, you still get action in Ultra Mega, but it has a really heavy horror accent to it. So it completely fooled me, which I'm not going to say is a bad thing, but man, I'd like it to have just a little more horror elements to it. Like it's good. I still really enjoyed it. Aesthetically, beautiful book. It pops. Like that book it's beautiful from page turn to page turn, the paneling, and it's a beautiful book to read. I mean,
dude, you need to check out Limbo. Get Limbo. If you think Casper's panel layouts are good in this, man, wait till you see the necro shaman chasing dude through TV channels in Limbo, man. Like, oh my god, that's why I wasn't surprised that this wasn't horror oriented, because that's what I originally thought with Limbo too, because it's like a tape with a skull on the cover, and then I read it and it's this noir story that's, oh dude, like Nintendos and Viewmasters and are sacred magical objects that you can use and do necromancy and shit through. So like these guys already like think on a way different level than. So I knew that even though this was going to be like a punk rock thing, I kind of expected it to be really weird. I did not think that it was going to go kaiju though. That was a big surprise for me, but it was definitely one I was into, because like one of my favorite things is I hate to know where a story's going or how it's going to end. And when something comes out and it's just like, well, shit, that wasn't about ghosts really at all, man. Like that's, I mean, like there's ghosts involved, but like it's the pilot of Mech now. You know what I mean? It's like Evangelion, but instead of using the rage to channel the angry angel, like they're using ghosts, and I dig it, man. I love Evangelion, and I like that they made like dead end kids Evangelion. Like that's fucking cool.
And like you guys, like I love the TIFF, the VHS monster ghost, whatever you want to call them, with the cassette, and it's the two eyes, like the tape, and it's the two. It was great.
It's an incredible design, right? Isn't it one of the?
It's great. Yeah, it's awesome. I do agree. Like when I saw that part, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. and then when like they have the battle outside and he's winning, then runs back into the video store so you can have more tape, and it's like, get the fuck out, now it's time to, now that's not good, get the fuck out. Like that part, I love that was cool. And then you come to find out she's working with a supernatural team that or she, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but like they're working with the other team that's trying to catch ghosts or track them down. So that's a little bit of a twist. You're like, oh, okay, it's not just some random ghost that's, you know. Then you have the big standoff at the end where the house becomes like this giant kaiju thing, like mech, whatever entity, and they have the battle, which is I mean, this book has a lot of action. So if you like action, man, pick this up. Don't be fooled, because it leans heavy on the action, big time.
On the Ghost Hunter guys, the way their equipment works is cool. I like that they wear TV screens and like the hand like pops up and tells. Yeah, I mean it doesn't explain what any of it means, but it just looks so fucking cool. And it just.
Well, I'm sure they kind of slowly kind of get more into it as it goes. So now with the other girl being part of their team, now I'm sure you're going to get into the nitty gritty of all that stuff now.
Oh, so I can't wait to see where it goes next, man.
Like, yeah, I think the first arc was the one side, and now the second arc is probably going to be more like we're going to see the point of view from the other side, like these supernatural agency that's trying to. I think that's it. You'll see more of that, and then maybe a third arc will be the big reveal of the culmination of these two sides. And like you say, you don't know which side is the good side.
Is it still going to be called Homesick Pilots, or is it going to be called Nuclear Bastard? Next arc.
Whatever.
I'd actually change the name of the second arc. I'd put the second one out as Nuclear Bastard, because that's what it seems that it's going to be about, the new mech, which,
call it whatever you want. I mean, I'll still pick it up, right? So.
Yeah, no, I mean,
same.
Dude, Dan Waters would have to probably put out My Little Pony crossover with Scream, I guess, to get me not to read it. I don't know. Like, I had to think of like two properties I really dislike.
I'd read that.
I'd probably still check it out just because he wrote it. You know what I mean? Like he's on that level with me. I love everything that he's done. He really has the chance to be like the new generation Grant Morrison with how he does surrealism and his horror and his humor. He's a funny bastard. He's a scary bastard. Like I love everything that I've read that he's done. His Lucifer was so good too. That's another one. The DC canceled too soon. Fuck you. Get me all Nicolas Caged out.
Yeah, but at least that one, they gave him some more fucking shit to do with it. They put out the trades.
Yeah, and then
to at least finish it.
Yeah, they released that fourth trade all at once, right? That's like the last story arc that he was going to put out.
Yeah.
That's pretty groovy. I wish they'd have did that for Hellblazer, but whatevs.
Well, Campbell's working on something else now, actually. He put out a little teaser.
He's working on... Yeah. He's been doing, I know, covers for Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah. No, but he put out a little teaser of just, like, all the shoes of people.
Yeah.
For some DC book. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you'll see John back in that one.
I wish he would have told DC to go fuck themselves, but
one of the characters had dress pants and slacks, so I don't know. It looked like it might be John's feet in it. So
probably the question.
It could have been the question. It could have been a lot of people, but yeah. Ugh. I take it you don't like the question.
I've only ever read the Jeff Lemire
It's not
book.
fucking John Constantine. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I never really read any of the older ones. What wasn't that a Neil Adams character? No, Ditko did it, right? Or question?
No, it was shit. I can't remember his name now. He passed away a little while ago. He was like, I think he's the one who established the character. He had the longest running with O'Neill. Was that his name?
Neil Adams?
No, O'Neill.
Oh, Kevin O'Neill. Kevin O'Neill.
Dennis O'Neill?
Dennis O'Neill. That's it. Dennis O'Neill. He had, I think, he established the character more globally of what the character is today. I think his run on that was the one that everyone uses as a reference for the character.
I only read the Jeff Lemire one. It was okay. It was Jeff Lemire writing for DC, so it was basically Jeff collecting a paycheck. Wasn't as good as Batman That Smiles or whatever the hell that one was.
Yeah, that one was solid.
That one was dope.
Yeah, no, dude. Like anything that he does with Sorrentino is quality, man. Sorrentino's art's just blown me away since I first saw it in I, Vampire. So
they've been putting out a teaser too. What is it, like a picture of the moon with a paw print on the moon?
No, yeah.
Lemire and Sorrentino's new project for DC.
All right, they're gonna do a kaiju book for DC.
I don't know. It's like a picture of a paw print on a moon framed in some kind of camera thing. Anyway, I don't know. I have no clue what it is. But a while back, Jeff Lemire said he was going to get to work on one of his favorite characters that's in DC. So I don't know. Who knows?
It's Superman's dog.
That's what I thought.
That rabbit that was hanging out with Superman, like during the what was that called? The DCU era. Wasn't there like a Superman rabbit?
Fuck if I know.
Jeff Lemire writing what's a Superman dog? What's his name?
There is one, like Underdog, right?
No, that's Hanna-Barbera, I think.
Well, that's the only Superman dog I know, dog. Like Jason Lee did his voice, right? Like, I don't know, man. I don't really read DC if it's not like, in Gotham City or written by Garth Ennis or something. I don't really check it out, I don't read Superman. Like, to read Superman, I'd both need to be paid and get the issues for free and physical copies of the issue. I ain't reading fucking PDFs of stuff I don't want to read. Like, so I want to be flying to Paris to read them. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tack that on just because fuck you, DC. That's what you get for canceling Constantine. But anybody got any last words about Homesick Pilots?
Agreed.
Buy it. It was. If you like beautiful looking book, man, you like art, and the color palette in it was great. Pick this book up, man. It's a fun read.
Sound like me talking about The Shining. Yeah, I like the cinematography in the backgrounds, but like, did you like anything besides the art, Joey? Just wondering.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it was like action. There's a lot of action in it. It was a fun, fast-paced book. Like Crypto. Crypto's the name of the dog. Yeah.
Cryptozoologist.
Yeah. I'll buy it if Jeff Lemire writes Crypto. I'll fucking read that.
I won't.
Well, it's not about Superman, so I might. Like, it's about his dog, so it could be more interesting than he is. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, yeah, I think technically it's not really his dog, but anyway, yeah, that's a.
He stole it, like that book Kinski. That's like one of my favorite noir comics. Guys ever read that one about the dude that kidnaps the dog because he's lonely? It's a really good graphic novel. Well, Superman did it too, so let me see if I can find it. It's like somebody cool wrote it. Somebody that we kind of talked to on. Here it is, Kinski. Yeah, Gabriel Hardman did it. He's like one of them Kickstarter guys we kind of roll with.
Oh, okay.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a graphic novel that Image put out, and like, yeah, it's about this dude who's like supposed to be going to this retreat for his job, and like he meets this dog, and he thinks it's homeless at first. And he wants to keep it, then he finds out that it's a family's dog, and then he like finds a way to justify it to himself that the dog would be better with him than the family, and he steals it, and then like he gets caught and they take the dog away, and but like he ends up making friends with the people, and they do let him come see the dog eventually at the end. It's a really neat, really weird little graphic novel. I highly recommend it. And if Jeff Lemire writes something about that, like Superman, that'd probably be one of the best Superman comics ever. Like Superman stealing somebody's dog.
Possibly. No, if you like some people stealing dogs, man, go read Stray Dogs. That's pretty much. No, it doesn't just kill. He doesn't just steal the dogs. He kills the people and then takes their dogs. So.
Damn. Were they
Yeah.
Were they like mean to him? Like, is it like?
No.
What?
He's a serial killer, and that's his like. You know how serial killers like to have tokens or mementos. Well,
Yeah.
Trophies. Yeah.
Trophies, yeah. Well, the dogs are his trophies when he kills people. That's pretty much Stray Dogs. That's the gist of it. It's pretty damn good. You guys should read that, man.
Well, I've been seeing it around. I
Yeah.
hear good things. I just, I get trades. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
really
I
read
think
trophies.
the final issue is coming out. I think next week, maybe. So the trade will be following shortly after that.
Killer. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely one that I was going to look into because everybody's told me how good it was. I just didn't know that that's what the story was about. Like, I just knew that it was kind of a sad thing about dogs. You know what I mean? It's kind of so I thought it was.
All the horror movie
Yeah.
covers are just so good. They do such a good job with those horror movie
They did a
covers. It's
fucking
crazy.
variant with the like the movie poster from Demons, man. It's like,
Yeah,
who does that?
I have that one. I have that
so that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Chad, I don't have anything really against him. I just don't find him very interesting. Like, he's way too strong. I don't feel that there's like really any stakes with the character. But I don't really, I don't hate him like I hate like Spider-Man or Iron Man. So, like, Superman's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure there are good books about him out there. I just haven't found them and don't know of them. But yeah, no, I don't like particularly dislike him either. Like, I'm a fan of the show Smallville, and if he steals dogs, he might be more interesting to me. I don't know. That's
Oh shit.
so. I don't know. You guys want to wrap it up then, or because Joe's got the like, oh, I pooped my pants look on his face.
Montreal just
Yeah,
won
he
in
definitely
overtime.
shit himself.
Oh, you guys won. The Bears won. Oh,
Yeah, they won
snaps!
in overtime.
So are
Yep.
they're going to the championship?
No, not yet, but they took the lead in the series, so that's good. That's good.
They're still.
I hope they make it, buddy. Just
Are they-
to fucking lose. They'll get the
We'll
participation ribbon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, they'll get Jesus and Mary Chain to play your birthday party.
Ugh, God, what a fucking nightmare.
Oh, don't worry, I'll get you all the Star Wars toys for your birthday too, man. Make sure you get a big baby Yoda stuffed animal, man.
Mhm. Gotta start the fire somehow.
So they're still in the Fatal 4-Way or whatever it's called with the.
Yeah,
That's cool.
the Golden Knights, Vegas.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking weak.
But all right,
Well,
then. This was the really kind of fun episode of I almost said Nerds from the Underground. God damn it, this is Pink Buzz, completely different show. But yeah, like we're still on graphic vandalism, so don't stop reading, don't stop listening to awesome music. On Tuesday, we are going to be testing out our first movie review episode on Pink Bites or Buzz Bites, and we're going to be talking about Wally's Wonderland starring Nicolas Cage. So if you want to have a really fun time with us talking about probably one of the best movies you need to watch. Join us on Tuesday. You can find me, Drew, on Twitter at JohnnyAlpha81, and PD Fulci. Where can they find you at, man?
If they know where to find you fuckers, you can find me.
Yes, it's your turn, Joe.
Good to know. All right. So next week we'll be doing I put together a little giveaway for everyone. We're going to be doing 3 different giveaways. One will be issues 1, 2, and 3 of Ultra Mega.
That's like 100 pages of reading, or 130 pages of reading.
Yeah,
like those things are like 70 pages each and shit. So that's awesome right there.
Yeah, it'll be the Joe's Hard On giveaway.
Right.
These are all the books I love, right? So the other giveaway that you could pick will be Orphan in the 5 Beasts issue 1, issue 2, and I'm going to pick one other thing that James Stokoe did. I just picked up the Heroes Reborn, so I'm going to read that. I heard the art is amazing, so I'll probably throw that in as the 3rd book for that giveaway. And I'm going to have issue 1 and 2 of Jenny Zero plus the 1st issue of Red Room. So that's going to be Joe's Hard On giveaway. We'll probably do that next week, so look forward to that. I'll be giving those books away to 3 different people. We'll just pick people, and you can just pick which pack of 3 books you want, and get your address, and we'll ship that out to you.
Yeah, we're gonna ask you like really hard, like 1970s hockey questions about the Montreal Bears, and yeah, that's for Joe's Hard On. And we will also have
What if you're not interested in winning the books, but you just want to win Joe's Hard On? What's the question for that, so I can study?
So I can study.
Who wrote the screenplay for the movie Car Wash?
Well, I don't even know the answer to that.
It's really easy, man. Joel Schumacher.
Was it?
Yeah, Joel Schumacher wrote
Never seen it.
You never seen the Car Wash, man? It's a 70s classic, man.
I might have. I don't know.
George Carlin in that?
No. There's not very many white people in it.
I might have seen it. I don't know. Fucking sounds like
I just want to win Joe's Hard On. I don't really care what the question is.
I want those Ultra Mega issues, man.
Well, enter the contest.
Enter the
You better study your fucking 70s hockey bullshit then.
Yeah, stop calling my team the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, there's no chance Johnny's winning.
You won't be winning shit.
Next week, we will also be joined by our first guest creator. Of course, that is Mr. Steve Arena, the writer of Slowpokes and Zombie Date Night. That's going to be really cool for us. We're going to have our first interview. A lot of people thought it was never going to happen. A lot of people thought I would never allow it. But you know what? Next week, we're going to have Steve on. It's going to be wonderful. And after that, we might get Jonathan Thomas and some other of our buddies on here. And that could be wonderful. So, yeah, Joey's got a couple guys he wants to talk to, too. So, yeah, we might do once a month, have a creator on and to talk with us. That might be a kind of a cool thing to do with the show. And then, yeah, I'm taking that big leap. I'm getting a trampoline, guys. It's going to be amazing. Like, it should change my life. I should break a hip before I'm even old enough to. And, yeah, I can move to Florida really early, really young with a broken hip.
Don't do that, dude. Don't do that.
What, the trampoline or move to Florida? Which one?
Move to Florida, man. That's the fucking worst decision you can ever make.
All right, before Matt pisses off an entire state full of crazy people with guns, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye from Pink Buzz once again. Don't stop reading. Check you later, y'all.